Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Becky, and we're parents to two little kids. Parenting isn't always easy. There are ups and downs, good days and bad days, days with way too much TV, and days with lots of laughter. Moments where you just feel overwhelmed, and moments where you've never felt more proud.
At the end of the day, parenting is super rewarding, but also super hard. This podcast is for all the parents out there who feel like they have no idea what they're doing, because we're right there with you. This is the Spillproof podcast. Welcome back to the Spillproof podcast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Becky.
And today we're going to be talking about support systems. This is something that we've kind of just fell into, I want to say.
Yeah, I think
like it wasn't
part
planned,
of it we
but
fell into it, and part of it took time for us to
be comfortable with.
be like mold into what we needed it to be.
Agreed. I mean, we purposely moved into a neighborhood where your parents lived.
Mm-hmm.
Intentional. Then my mom moved into this neighborhood a little bit later.
Like pandemic.
Yeah. And then my brother moved into the same town.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's a pediatric nurse.
And my brother lives in our neighborhood, and my sister lives in the same town.
That is correct. Sorry, I figured I'd do mine, and I wasn't forgetting about them. Sorry, I wasn't forgetting about you.
I don't think you were. I think
Okay.
you were just saying your side, and then I was finishing my side.
Oh, okay. I didn't want to make it sound like I was just forgetting about them. We see them a lot, so I just
Yeah. Chrissy Scott, we know you're listening to this. We didn't forget you.
So yeah, support system has been a really big part of raising our kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think at the time when we were planning on having kids, we really realized how important a support system was going to be. We were never going to leave the town. We were never going to leave away from our parents or anything like that. But at the same time, I honestly don't know how we would have done any of this without having our support system. You know, my mom, your parents,
Mm-hmm.
even my brother,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to call on and ask for help or have them come over and watch the kids. It's just one of those things that, again, I think that we kind of thought that, but we never really thought it through as much as we probably should have.
Yeah, I think when we were pregnant with Owen, you're just really focused on the pregnancy, and you don't necessarily plan out or think about what you're going to need after the fact. And I think to a certain extent, you just don't know, because you don't know what your kid's going to be like. You don't know what you're going to need.
You don't know where you're going to be working.
Exactly.
There might be a pandemic.
Yeah. And
Everyone might go to work from home.
yeah, like you might have postpartum depression and need more support and not realize it. So
Mm-hmm.
I think we are very lucky in the support system that we have. We're very lucky that, you know, the nanas can come over and watch our kids. And, you know, if one of us is having like a really hard day and we need to get out, you know, there's always someone we can call on to say, hey, we just need to get out for a bit. Not that we take them up on it that much, honestly. We probably should take them up on it more.
We probably
but
should do a little bit more. But for date nights and stuff like that too. You know, we don't need a babysitter, or someone just comes over, watches the kids, put them down,
Yeah.
and then, you know, we come back and
And for us, it's family, but but for a lot of people, it might be really close friends. It might be like a parent group, a mom group, a dad group. It might be siblings. It might be neighbors.
Yeah,
You know,
it doesn't have to be
It doesn't
family.
have
It's just
to be family,
for us,
but
it
it's
happens
what
to be
works
family.
for you. Yeah, for us, it's family. And like I said, we have a really great support system.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I think it took a little bit to understand what I needed as a parent.
Which again, it's that goes back to the whole, like, you can plan for having a support system, but you might find out later down the road what you need wasn't necessarily what you thought you were going to need.
Yeah. And once you get pregnant, everyone in the entire world wants to give you advice.
And rub your belly.
No, I never let anyone rub my belly unless they had permission.
Consent.
Yeah, consent, everyone. No means no. But, the advice is great, but it took me a while to realize that's what worked for them and what they did. It was how they did things. And some, especially for the person who's pregnant, you go to baby showers. And it's like a constant thing at baby showers. It's like all the guests are going to write down the best parenting advice they have for you. And you think it's great, but then you read it and you're like, it's like stresses you out a little bit. And then you think about it when you're a parent. And
did you do that?
Yeah. I have a book somewhere of advice, and it's all like,
clearly we used it.
Well, I haven't looked at it for a reason a little bit. It's a nice keepsake, but a lot of it is enjoy these moments. They go by so fast. They're only little for so long. Like,
you mean
hug
nobody
them while you
put
can.
in there how to potty train your kid?
No, nobody put in there advice on how to potty train our kids. And that's been interesting, as you all know.
Yeah, ongoing.
And I feel like a lot of the advice that you get almost is like a guilt trip.
How so?
Because it's a lot of enjoy every minute. It goes by so fast. And sometimes it's just not super fun to be a parent. You're exhausted. You're getting thrown up on. You don't know what you're doing. Yeah, you're getting smacked. And even, you might not feel quite like yourself. And you're sitting there thinking, I'm supposed to be enjoying all of this. I feel guilty because I'm not enjoying all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what we were expecting when we thought we were going to be parents. And I know everyone has their own expectations. And honestly, I mean, you walk into it knowing it's not always going to be, happy and good times. There's going to be bad times. There's going to be problems. There's going to be stress. There's going to be issues that you're going to have to tackle. And again, that's why, it's nice to have a support system or, a significant other, whoever it might be, someone close to help you take care of the kids. And I mean, I think the support system, no matter who it is, no matter what it is, no matter how much, many people are involved in it, few or a lot, it probably is one of the most important things.
Yeah.
Again, even if you don't even know what you might need at the time, but just to have somebody there to lean on, even if you're like a single parent, somebody who you can rely on to help when things just get a little bit hard. Because it gets hard. I mean, there are some times where you just feel defeated and you're just like, I don't know how to move forward. And it's not that you don't want to. It's just like, what do you do next? How do I go from where I'm at this exact moment to take that first step? What is that next step that I need to do to get to where I need to be?
And it's about feeling comfortable with those next steps, right? So, like I said, we've had a great support system, and sometimes when we've needed, maybe a break, or maybe we've needed a date night, and people have offered,
because it's important to take time out for yourselves too.
If someone's offered like, oh, leave the kids at my house, or grandparents are like, oh, have them sleep over here, but that wouldn't, like, for us, we realized, and once we talked about it, you and I, we realized that right now our kids, it feels too young for them to sleep over at someone's house.
Owen still wakes up
like
most nights.
Not most. Not anymore. For a while, it was every night.
Yeah.
It's like 3 times a week.
Multiple times a night.
3 to 4 times a week.
But yeah, a couple times a night he wakes up and he needs me to come in.
And it has to be Dave.
Right. We have a routine. I have to pick him up, ask him what caused him to wake up, and then we go and sit onto the chair or the bed and talk about it. We set a timer. He's been really responsive to timers. he doesn't understand the concept of time necessarily, but he understands that when the timer goes off, he's agreed to go back or stop whatever he's doing. It's worked for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
There's sometimes with like TV, sometimes that's a little bit harder, but generally speaking, any activities, it seems to get him to pull back and
Yeah.
comply with whatever we're trying to get him to do.
Yeah, but because of some of the routines and habits our kids have, we just don't feel comfortable having them sleep somewhere else. And all, I think really the only time we've been away from Owen is when we were giving birth to Emily.
Mm-hmm.
And we
Which
were planning
set up a really great.
Yeah, we were planning on taking more, just like a getaway with you and I here and there, but then pandemic hit, and then all those plans went out the window. And now our kids are with us more, so now it's almost even harder to
because we're both
take
work
that
from home
time
now.
away.
So
yeah, so we're
with us
together all the time.
But that actually brings up a good point too. Despite having a really good support system, and despite for us having our grandparent, or your mom and my mom come over to watch the kids, we still have them go to daycare a couple times a week. I think we've talked about that before, and part of it initially was, and this is another thing where you plan your reasonings for doing something at the beginning don't necessarily end up being the reasons why you keep on doing it, or why in the end you decided to do it overall. So we have the kids going to daycare 2 times a week. Owen will be going 3 times a week. Is Emily going?
Yeah, starting this beginning of the summer, they're both going to go 3 days a week.
So they're going to go 3 days a week pretty soon. Owen used to go 3 days a week, and mainly that was to kind of give the nanas a little bit of a break during the week, so we didn't have him here all the time. But what we found is that he's very responsive, or very, very vocal when he comes home from daycare, and
So
he's
is
in a better
Emmy.
mood too, and Emily is too.
And they socialize.
And it helps them to social, because unfortunately we just don't get out as much with our schedules and pandemic and COVID.
I think
and all
this
that.
summer is going to be different.
This summer will be
There's
different.
a lot of kids their age in the neighborhood, and we're starting to reach out to our neighbors more and try to get some neighborhood stuff
There's a
set up.
Facebook
But
group going for that. So
yeah, I'm excited
we're on the right
for
track.
that. But yeah, I think it took a toll on them. Just they're both pandemic kids, right? Like Owen was 13 months when pandemic hit. So having them go 3 days a week is just going to help them, have just socialize more and play with kids more. And Owen really loves how preschool is a little more structured.
he does well with structure.
He does really well with structure.
And regimented. He's always been a regimented kid.
Yeah, and
even
he
from birth.
loves that, every morning there's reading time, story time, and then there's an activity. And at the end of the day, there's centers. Yeah, so he really likes the structure of it, and he learns so much. And he has really good friends there. When I go pick him up now, all of his friends say hi, and they all, say bye, Owen, when we walk out the door. And
he's got his own core group of friends there.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's not just, daycare can be support structure too. And I think part of creating that support structure is setting those boundaries of what, even with daycare, whoever is part of your support structure, you need to be able to set boundaries like any relationship, right? You need to kind of,
set the ground rules.
set the ground rules, talk about what you're comfortable with, talk about what's a deal breaker, talk about all of those things, because
You want to be on similar pages. It doesn't necessarily have to be the exact same page,
Yeah.
but like similar pages.
yeah, because I don't think I talked about a lot of that. I kept it bottled up more when I was a brand new mom, and again dealing with some postpartum anxiety and depression, and it was just harder to get out my feelings. But now I feel as if I can voice any concerns or anxiety I might have, or really just say, oh yeah, we're going to do that, or no, we're not going to do that, and not feel guilty or feel bad or feel
because at the
a
end of the
certain
day,
way.
you're the parent, they're your kid. You get to make final decision and final call on something,
Yeah.
like giving your kid coffee.
What a story that is. But yeah, again, like any relationship, it's a relationship, right? So your support system, you have a relationship with them and they're helping you raise your kids. So open communication is really good both ways. So if they need to tell, if our parents need to tell us something they need, it's really important for us that they do that as well and they feel like they can. So I think we've run into a couple instances where we found out a little too late that, like maybe we were working past a certain time or, they felt like we didn't really listen to what they needed. And then, it turns into a little bit of like, oh, shoot, not awkwardness, but like, oh, we kind of missed the mark here.
Yeah, we could have communicated a little bit better.
Yeah, exactly.
Just especially since, both our parents are a little bit older. So since they are watching two toddlers at this
who are
point,
nuts.
Yeah, and just are bouncing off of everything, jumping.
And they wrestle. They're so aggressive with each other right now.
Yeah, both of them.
19 months and 3, and they literally just go after each other sometimes. Oy.
And sometimes, it's easy for us to keep up with the kids and, pull them apart and separate them or do whatever. But like for the nanas, it might be a little bit harder for them to keep up.
Yeah.
It might be a little bit harder for them to, chase down two kids at the same time.
I think it's also
it's
just because they're grandparents, it's harder for them to lay the law down.
Probably.
Whereas I will, or you will like forcibly remove them from each other or send them in timeout or say, this is enough.
I don't think either one of them's ever sent them to timeout.
I think they both have, but it was for like egregious actions.
I've never seen them go to timeout.
I know. No, they both have. I'm pretty sure they both have if they hit each other or a bit. Biting was big for a while. There was a lot of time.
We got past that.
Yeah.
Now it's like laying on each other.
Yeah, just like literally
Forcibly
trying
laying.
to smush and suffocate each other.
That's the new thing.
They think it's hilarious.
Both of them do.
They both think it's so funny.
Until one of them doesn't.
Yeah. Kids, man.
Ugh.
But I think we've really spent time developing and honing our support system and ebbing and flowing and learning what we need and what they need. And
3 years later, we kind of narrowed it down for the most part.
Yeah, like I think I would feel pretty comfortable asking your mom for something, or if I really wanted her to focus. Like today, she was potty training, helping us potty train, and
that's a really good example. I mean, today, so as we've mentioned before, we are trying to potty train, and it hasn't been going smooth.
yeah,
we've made a lot of progress.
We've made progress
in the last,
but we're in a weird
48
spot.
hours. But we've made more progress than we initially thought we were going to in 48 hours, which was unintentional. Now we got to figure out if we just lean into it or not. But we were doing a naked day essentially, so the kids didn't have any pants on, shirts. Yeah, shirts.
Pants.
But no pants. So make it easier to go to the bathroom and make them remember that if they go, it's going to get everywhere. So it's actually been working really well. Owen did really good yesterday, and he was doing good today. Emmy surprisingly can do number 2 on a big potty, which was very shocking to us.
Yeah.
And unforeseen.
The last 2 days, she's only gone number 2 on a big girl potty in the bathroom and peed everywhere else.
Yeah. And that's kind of what happened today. So Owen's been really good. He still prefers diapers for going to the bathroom. Number 2,
yeah.
But everything else he's been doing really good in going into the little potty. We're trying to convert him over to the bigger potty with the kids seat. We're going to work on that tomorrow, and hopefully this weekend one of them will be potty trained. But what ended up happening is it was lunchtime. You had to work a little bit later and take a later lunch.
Yeah.
I took a lunch at some point, and I'd just come up to get water or use the bathroom or something. And I walk up, and there's like screaming and a baby standing on the chair, and I can't remember what Owen was doing.
It was Emmy had just peed all over the chair.
Emmy had just peed over the chair.
He asked for a diaper to put on so he could poop. So he had just pooped. Your mom had just cleaned him up. She was throwing out the diaper genie in the garage.
And then he decided to shut the door on her while she had her fingers in the door jamb. So he smashed 2 of her fingers in the door, and then mom had to use her hand to wipe up the pee that Emmy was standing in, and it ended up being a lot. I think it emotionally was a lot for her, and then she was physically in pain because her fingers were all mashed up.
I think for any of us, potty training 2 kids at the same time who may or may not be ready is a lot, and we just kind of threw it on your mom with.
She had no idea she was walking in
at 8 a.m. and we were like, guess what? They're potty training because we're trying to potty train Owen, and Emmy's kind of along for the ride and also pooping on the potty. So
and then we both went to work.
And we both had very busy days today. There are days when we can kind of check in more, but today I think we were both just back-to-back meetings all day.
Yeah, we were glued to our computers pretty much the entire day.
Yeah, probably not, like that was probably maybe a fail on our part of not preparing.
Yeah, we probably should have.
Or we should have been, if Emmy wants to put a diaper on her, the second she pees, just put a diaper on her. She's 19 months. It's really Owen we're trying to.
And by the time this had happened, she had peed in 3 different places, I think.
3 or 4.
So
3 because then I took a lunch and she went home to just take a break and let the dog out. And then Emmy peed on the floor again.
Yeah. So we put her in a diaper after that.
She poops in the potty.
Yeah. I told mom to just put a diaper on her. I said, it's fine.
Yeah.
We weren't actually trying to potty train her. It's just a bonus if it ends up happening.
Yeah. I think it'll happen sooner
She
rather
doesn't
than
like
later,
having poop in her diaper. So I'm not really surprised she's.
I will be shocked if she ever poops in a diaper again.
Yeah, it's going to be great on the car trip.
She'll hold it.
We'll see. I'll have to deal with that at night. I had to do that before. But yeah, I mean, it's really great having a support system, and I think it takes some of the stress of being a parent off of being a parent.
Because you need breaks as a parent, too.
If you don't, I mean, it's the same as anything else. You get burnt out.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is it might be only you, or you might think it only is affecting you, but it means you end up being shorter with your kids. You end up not enjoying it as much.
Feel guilty more.
Yeah, it just it ends up snowballing.
Things more. Yeah, it's just going to snowball into
And I think this time of year too, like we're in spring now. I think we're officially in spring.
I think next week we're officially in spring.
We're almost officially into spring. And we've actually felt like you get this really nice 70-degree day, and then it goes to 32 degrees and snows.
And it's sleeting and hailing.
Yeah. And that's enough to it's just the weather's enough to affect you.
You see the sun, you feel the sun on your face. You're like, yes, we're going to be outside more. I see the light at the end of this winter tunnel, and then winter hits you in the face and it's 20 degrees and you're just crying.
Yeah. So there's outside factors too, but
But when you're feeling like that, it's nice to be able to either lean on your partner, like you lean on me, I lean on you, and say, I need, there's been times when we both told each other we were each other's support systems, and we just said, I need to get out of the house, or I'm going to lose it, or I need to go lay down upstairs, or go do an activity that's away from everyone.
Yeah, and we never guilt. We never say, no, you can't do that, or, we be as supportive as possible.
Yeah. But I think, too, it's important to say, as parents, we need to get out and get away. And I do think you and I don't do that enough. I think it's self-inflicted. And we just enjoy being home. But, I think we love when we get to do dinners.
We still like going out and doing stuff. But we have a tendency to be a little bit of homebodies.
Yeah. And bedtime has been rough. Like, it's better now, but the last 2 months, bedtime and just sleeping has been rough. But I think we're getting to a better spot where we might.
We are. We're just now into an hour bedtime routine.
A Nana to, we'll be nearby just in case, but maybe ask a Nana to try to put him down. However you can. Who cares about when it happens?
As long as they're asleep when we get back home.
As long as they're asleep when we get home. And then if needed, we can come rushing home and help out. But I think we're going to try that. But again, we have that support system in place where we can say, we need a night out. But we also know that putting 2 kids down at the same time is not easy. You and I haven't done it in forever.
No, not Not in the last
Not
year.
since you've gotten your new job.
Mm-mm.
We haven't.
No, because that's right. Because sometimes I'd get out late and you'd have
I
to
would
put them down
the
by
kids
yourself.
down, yeah.
But Emmy was young enough where you just lay her down.
Yeah, I would just put her in her bassinet or her crib and then like get her later if she needed it. Or just lay her down and she would go to sleep.
Yeah.
Now she has to give you and Owen 1,000 hugs before bedtime.
She's in the stalling phase of going to bed.
Yeah.
So she
it's
stalls
right before
as long
bedtime
as
and
possible.
then she goes, "Oh, wait, daddy. Oh, wait, daddy." As if her life depends on one more hug. But anyways, finding your support system is really important. And again, it's what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
What we have is not going to work for everyone.
No. And that's not the point of this. The point isn't to say, oh, you need to have this, 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 and this.
Yeah.
The point of this is just like, have something.
You have to have something.
You got to have something.
Even
Otherwise,
if it's one person.
Otherwise, it's just too much. I mean, it's so much, between work and trying to take care of yourself, but then taking care of the kids. I mean, it's a lot. And if you don't get a break from it, or if it never lets up, something's got to give, And you don't want it to be you feeling resentment for the children or, just being miserable all the time.
Yeah. If you need to take a night away and not be a part of bedtime or, go out with friends or take a date night, whatever it is, whatever brings you peace and allows you to reset and get your own space. It's important to know that you can do that and that you build a support system where you can do that when you need it at the drop of a hat.
Yeah. I think that wraps it up.
That wraps it up.
All right. Well, that was support system. Network.
Systems. Support system. Creating your support system. Parenting 101. Have a great night.
Or day.
Or day. Or breakfast.
Thanks for listening to the Spillproof podcast. As always, reach out to us at spillproofpodcast@gmail.com.
We'd love to hear from you all, and we can't wait to talk with you next time.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.